Hey, how you doing? We had a request from someone who wanted to do a fixed sidebar. Now there's tons of videos out there and really cool ways of doing it. Some with a bit of code, some without, some using some additional plugins. I'm going to show you a way of how we can have a sidebar fixed to the side of our screen. So as we're scrolling up and down, that sidebar stays in place. And the way I'm doing it isn't going to satisfy everyone, but I'm using a method that has no code, no additional plugin, and basically anyone can do it, so stay tuned to see how we do it. There's a few steps we need to cover off. What we're going to do is we're going to create a sidebar header. We're then going to stick that into another template, and then that template will go and sit on our page, and it will basically fill up the sidebar, and we can use it however we want, okay? And it might sound complicated, but it's not. Just 3 steps, okay? No code, okay? No JavaScript or any additional plugins or anything like that. We go to templates and we click add new. Now this is just going to be a section. The second template will be the header, okay? Bear with me on this. We're going to create a section and I'm going to call it single header. I'm going to call this content. This is where we're now going to create one section, and this will contain the contents for our header or the sidebar. We're just going to pick one section and we're going to make this a full width, no gap. The key bit now is the minimum height. Make sure it is a VH100. What's the importance of that? It means that no matter what device you're looking at, it will fill the full height of the screen. You do minimum, well, if you do this one here, fit to screen, it won't work all the time. You sometimes get a bit of spacing at the bottom, whatever, and it's really, really annoying. So make sure you do minimum height 100. What you also want to do is set your background color. You could go for a gradient or an image. I'm just going to go with a white background. And the last thing I'm going to do is just drop something in, just so we've got something to play with. In fact, there is one more thing I need to do. In our section, go back to our section, just make sure you got your column position set at the top, just so everything is nicely at the top there. Now I'm just going to mess around over here with the margins and padding. I'm just going to give it about, we'll go with about 30 from the top. We'll go 30 from the bottom, and I will do something like 20. No, we'll go for a bit more from the right. We'll go 40 from the right and 20 from the left there, just so it's not too tightly up against it. We're now going to update this. Now remember, this is just a section header. So this header, well, this content is not a header. Sorry, let me get that right. It is just a section. What you now do is when you go back into your template, you'll now have the short code over there. We're now going to stick that short code into an actual header. So this is the content. This is where we're going to add things in. And I would say keep that open on another screen because it saves you jumping around a lot. We're now going to create a new header. We're going to call it header, and we're going to call this one single header holder. So the content is the content, the holder is the holder of the content. Hope that makes sense. We're going to create a template. Now I'm going to pick a 3-column section, and this will make sense in a moment, okay? In fact, you could do 2 column, to be honest. 1 column, 2 column, 1 column, 2. We'll go with 2 column, okay? Now, this section, I'm just going to make it a full width, and I'm again going to say no gap. You do not set the height here, okay? You don't do any of that, all right? You can, if you want, again, just to be safe, go and put your color in again for your background, but I would say the single header content does it. Now, here's what you need to do. You go and grab the shortcode widget, drop it into column 1, or column 2 if you want your sidebar to be on the right-hand side, and drop the shortcode in. And look, instantly it's there, with the padding, with the wording, with what we created. Now, why did I have 2 columns? Right. When you're viewing this on a desktop, great. Tablet and mobile, though, do you want it to really be eating up your estate on your page? No. This is where you're actually going to need to use something else. So if I go to my section over here, and I set this layout to be a vertical line up top, what I'm going to do is, and I'm not going to do it properly, I'm just going to drop a nav menu in, okay? You could drop in an image, drop whatever you want in, sort out your styling and how you want to do it. Because what you really want to be thinking about is this column here. If I click it and I go to advanced and responsive, I want to hide it on the tablet and the mobile. Whereas this column, over here, I go to advanced and responsive. I want to hide that on the desktop, but activate it on the tablet and the mobile. So when we look at responsive mode, that it will be activated on the desktop, but on the mobile mode, that won't be visible and you will instead have this. And you can mess around with the layout and how it looks. So you'll have a different menu structure, logo, social media icons, whatever you want to go for, okay? We're focusing on the sidebar here, so I'm not going to really do, I'm not focusing on the mobile version of that because that's you got to mess around with that yourself, okay? That's simple if you're used to doing mobile versions of a page. Now, the last thing we need to do is on this shortcode, remember, you've got to click the shortcode, okay? We've got to go to advanced, we go to positioning, and we're going to set the width to be custom. And I'm going to give this a width of 250. No, we won't go with that. We'll go with 300. We'll go with a 300 pixel width, okay? I'm then going to go down to position and set this to be fixed. This is now going to be fixed wherever this is activated on the entire site or on particular pages. Now remember, this is where the content sits. This is the holder. You can't really edit it because it's a shortcode. So if you want to edit it, you'd go over here. But this is the holder. And we've now set it to be 300 pixels. And if you look down here, it is stuck to the left-hand side. Or it could be stuck to the right. I mean, top and bottom is a little bit neither here and there. Leave it at the top, for instance. Right. Now what we're going to do is publish that. And this is where you add in your condition. Is it going to be the entire site? But because this is my test website, and I've got tons of headers and footers and stuff activated, I'm just going to get this to activate on a test page that we're going to call vertical. I could use one of my other pages. No, we'll go with vertical. We'll go with vertical. And I'm going to hit save and close. Okay. So that is now activated. Let's go to the vertical page. And there you go. We've got the vertical page. And you can see there, can you see the hashes missing? Because we've got this with the white background that we did on the single header content. It is now coming through, right? So now we have this single bar. And then we have our page over here. Now here's where I deviate from what other people do with CSS coding or JavaScript or things like that. I know that the width of my sidebar is 300 pixels. So I'm going to add in some content over here. Let me show you what would happen if we just added in a standard 2 columns here section. And I set this to be a full width, okay? And I'm going to go with no gap. I am intentionally going to drop in some text like this, and I'm going to increase the text. Now at the moment, the text is going behind the header, which looks totally odd because it should not be visible, right? Don't be fooled by that, because if I now update this page and we preview it, it's not. Can you see there, the wording's been cut off? Because this is a section with a white background. It's just a little bit annoying that Elementor still shows you it. But what I wanted to get across is that even though we've got a fixed bar of 300, the content is still going behind. Well, this is so simple and easy to sort out. If I go to my section, right, and I go to my advanced, and I go to my padding for the section, I'm just going to go to my left, and I'm going to type 300. I am now 300 away from the bar. Now, let's start doing the content as per what the request I got came in. And I'm going to try and fly through this now, because right now we have got a sidebar. And I promise you, if I just duplicate this and duplicate again like that, so I've duplicated, and I update it, and I go over here, watch what's going to happen, right? As I scroll up and down, that sidebar is stuck in place. It's not moving anywhere. And that's the beauty about it, okay? And again, mobile and tablet, you wouldn't have that, but on the desktop, it is now stuck in place. You haven't even got a scroll bar up here. As long as you make your content fit, you should be okay. Now let's just make this match what my user wanted, or the request I got. I'm going to go to my single header content. And the first thing I'm going to do is add in a border at the top, okay? And you don't have to do what I'm doing here, by the way, okay? I'm just showing you a way of doing things. I'm going to make the top border be about 5-ish pixels, and I'm going to give it a orange color, something like that, like a dark orange color. Look, you can see it there. Okay, we just got a bit of a border. If I now update that, and we go to our page and refresh it, Can you see we have a border at the top there? I'm going to increase it to be about, I'm going to go back to that border for the top of that. It's basically a section. I'm going to make it about 10 just for the sake of it, okay? I'm now going to add in a divider line like so, okay? And I'm now just going to make, in fact, I'm going to get rid of the padding on this section, okay? Like so, like so, like so, like so. Just going to completely get rid of that, and I'm going to mess around with it internally within here. I'm just going to make this be about 10 as well in terms of weight, and I'm going to make it a lighter color like that, and I'm going to say there is 0 gap. Come on, get down, 0 gap like that. So if I now refresh the page on my vertical, I should get a dark reddish orange line and a yellow line like that straight at the top. Pretty simple, okay? Nothing majorly. And the great thing is I'm not touching the holder. I could literally close the holder bit down if I really wanted to, or I could go in to it, the column, and this is where I could set the padding up now. But I don't want to do that, because if I do any padding, it will affect the bars I've got at the top there. So I did a top border and I did a divider line. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is go over here, and I'm now going to get rid of this text, and I'm going to now drop in a image. Where's my image gone? No. Let me drop the image in first, because I kind of lost things a bit there. I'm now going to pick an image, and we'll go with this person over here. I don't know who they are. If you know who they are, please contact them and say I've used their image. It came as part of one of the templates and stuff I was experimenting with. I'm going to make this be about 100, something like that. So I've now just given it a width of 100. I've changed the height to be about 100 as well. In fact, I'm going to go with 125, 110, and I'm going to make this be a cover like that. So what I've now got is a slightly like skewy kind of pattern going on there, but there's a reason I've done that, is because it's similar to what our client or the person I'm working with was after. Purpose, I've changed the border there, so it's not like a complete circle kind of thing, but that's kind of like the pattern they wanted. And I'm just going to drop the saturation of the image now just to be a grayscale like that. I'm just going to set this image to be on the left hand side. Now at the moment it is bang on against the left, okay? When I go over to this image, and I'm going to say from the left go about 30 pixels inwards from there, and I'm just going to update that. Now this header that we have over here, in fact, first thing I'm going to do is go to the image. I'm going to go to positioning. I'm going to make this a custom position. I'm going to go to the header and also make that a custom header as well in terms of the width. So now they are side by side. And I've made the vertical line middle. And now this text over here, I'm going to change this to be sidebar fixed like that. And I'm just going to change it to be a darker font. We'll just go with black for now. And I'm going to change the text to be Orbitron. It's my favorite one, you know, Orbitron at the moment. I know not everyone likes it, but hey, I like it. And I'm going to go with that. And I'm just going to drop the REM to be about 2.5. 2.5, we'll go with that. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of spacing like that. Now at this point here, I'm pretty sure that is over 300 pixels. Okay, so you could now say maybe we need to just shrink the wording, or we just play around with it. So I'm just going to give a bit of spacing of about 20 away from the image. And I'm now going to change. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a return in there. So we've got a bit of a header going on there, okay? Now, when you are viewing this, don't be too worried at the moment because the orange lines have disappeared at the top. It's because I'm in a preview mode, but they are there. But the key thing is can you see the title has kind of gone over? So the 300 pixels now is either not enough or I've got to change the wording. So have a think about, do you change it here in your single header holder when you go to the shortcode and you go to the positioning? Do you change it here? Or do you go to your content and go, right, okay, we're going to have to do a bit of a change there. Let's put it down to 2. And you might find that you are kind of doing a bit of back and forth testing. But once you work out your width, that's now okay. I mean, I would probably say that any content on this page, rather than it starting at 300, it needs to start at 320. So every time now, I mean, of course, I didn't do it here. Let's just do it there. Let's just copy that. Let's do the paste style there, and let's just do the paste style over there. So now, right, we're kind of accommodating the width of that and how that looks. I'm going to go back over to my content over here. Let's go back to our section. Let's go. Now, I am going to add in a bit of styling to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go to my style over here. We already have a border. But what I'm going to do is do a box shadow as well. And this box shadow, I'm going to make 10 pixels. So 10 pixels goes to the right. If you do -10, it goes to the left, and it would come out on this side over here. In fact, I won't do 10. It's actually going to be about 2. And I'm going to make this a solid black. You can't see it at the moment. Okay, don't worry. You can't see it at the moment. Now, in terms of the blur, there will be 0 blur. But it is going to be 2 pixels kind of thing to the right. No, you're saying we cannot see anything. Of course you can't. But if we go over here and I hit return now, reload the page, you will see a black line. There we go. So now we have a black line coming out over there. You might want to say that's not looking great over there, but I'm not going to lose sleep over that. But what we now have is like a fixed bar. Again, play around with what works for you. And again, this is the point when you might go, you know what? That's now looking, again, too close. So let's just make it 340, okay? I'm not going to do it for all of them. I better do it, though, shouldn't I? Because if I don't, yeah, someone's going to pick up on this and go, oh, it's not in line. You lied to us. Be gone, right? So remember, this is where you're going to have your content. So we've got a sidebar and we've got a fixed. Okay, cool. Let's update that. So I've just dropped in a search underneath. I'm going to go to my advanced. I'm going to give it about 20 pixels away roughly from that. And I'm going to say from the right, it's about, we're going to go 25. And from the right-hand side, we'll say give it about 40. So give a bit of spacing away from the side. You could go with 20, to be honest. Let's now add in a form. Okay, so this is something someone asked me. How do I create something like this? So I'm going to go in, I've added in a form, I'm going to give it about 20 pixels away from the top for the form. I'm going to get rid of name and like that. I'm going to get rid of the label as well. I'm going to leave the email as it is, go to button, and I'm going to change this to say, there it is, I'm going to say sign up. Send would work better, to be honest, because it's a lot smaller. So in fact, I might just put sign, no, we'll do sign up, okay, something like that. I'm going to change this, though, to be 20% of the width. Now, when we actually view this out of 300 pixels, that might be too tight, but we've got to test it out. We'll go with 20%. For the form, for the email, we're going to change that to be 80%. So now what should happen is they should go against one another. Go to my advanced. I'm going to put the left to be 25, and we'll go with 40 as well over there. And you might now want to play around with your pixels and whatever. But look, I'm just showing you how we can do stuff, okay? So let's go over here, and I'm going to just change this to actually be about 5. So it's going to be slightly below the email there. Now, this is where I'm not going to do everything that was requested, because this is going to start to be like overkill. But if I just now stick in a header here, and I make this header be about 40 away, 25 from the left and 40 from the right, and we're going to give it a black font, and we're just going to make it a we'll leave it as a railway font. Railway. I quite like railway. We'll go with a 500. No, we'll go with a 500. Yeah, weighting. REM will go for about 1.8. I think no 1.5. We'll go with that. But I'm going to drop it to 600, and I'm going to change this to be header 1. So this might be like a group of items. So we're going to have header 1, okay? And then underneath that, I'm going to put in some text. So the advanced for this is, again, I'm just going to say left is 25, 40 from the right. And this is where I might put about, for instance, or services, or whatever, okay? And each one of these I might hyperlink to another page. So I might go over here, click it, and say, right, this is to go to the about page. I don't know if I've got an about page on here. I haven't got an about page. Hi, I'm Imran. Let's just do that, okay? So that is now going to hyperlink to the page. This is where you will have to maybe either change your site settings or just change the color of the text, okay? So it is a hyperlink. It's just a standard color. You go to your style, Do your typography, okay, your font size and everything like that. I'm just going to go with REM and go with about 1 point. Sometimes 1 is fine. 1.1, 1.1, 1.1 will do that. And in terms of the letter spacing, sorry, not the letter spacing, the line height, this is where you can just start to mess around with how's it looking now. Now, the only reason I've done this is because I wanted to demonstrate how I could duplicate this, pick it up and drop it below, duplicate that again, and pick it up and drop it below. So I might have a header too, and some other information and things that sit down there. I could even do social media icons, and I'm just going to now rush through this really, really quickly. Column 3, we're going to go with circular. You change your icons, you know, look, same drill, 25, you know, however you want to do it. You know, put maybe like 40 from the top, whatever you want to do. Okay, you play around with it. Okay, okay, I say okay a lot. I say okay, right, yeah, things like that. Change your color scheme, custom, you know, do what you want to do. Okay, I'm trying not to, I don't want to get too carried away with how I do things over here. Why did I do that? Because I want to do the hover color. Remember the hover color, primary color. Here we go. Right, so when you hover over, you get a different color. So I've just rushed through a layout. Remember this, I mean, this will change, by the way, if I like refresh the page, because it's feeding from the single header content. The single header holder just looks like that. If we now go to our vertical page, right. In fact, you know, just to make a point, let me drop an image in here. Let's go with, let's just go with something like this. No, that's rubbish, actually. Let's not do that. Let's get rid of the image. Let's do a column image. So I just want to like demonstrate how useful this all is, right? So let's just do that. Something like that. I don't know, cover, you know, whatever you want to do. Let's just drop in like a map over here. Okay, and down here, let's just drop in some, I don't know, let's just put in some buttons over here. Insert gallery. All right, let's just go with grid masonry. And we'll go with 2 columns. Right. In fact, we'll go with 3 columns. No, I said 3. We'll go with 3-column gallery, just something like that, okay? And when you now view that private page over here, right? I mean, look, this is now a fixed sidebar. And there's no CSS coding. There's no extra plugins. Yes, you could say I'm cheating a little bit because I'm just dropping in a template. I mean, I'm ensuring all of the content is 340 pixels away from the left. But it works. And that now means you've got a sidebar that is always fixed in view. And when you go to the mobile mode view or tablet, this will disappear. And you'll have a different menu at the top. So you're covering all bases. Look, I hope you found that useful. I hope you were able to follow that and experiment and have fun. And of course, you know, make sure you got some padding and whatever within there. I've just rushed it through a bit just to show you how we could do it. But I hope you found that really, really useful. Like, subscribe, share, and follow. And I'll see you soon.